Hey everybody, and welcome to another JASP tutorial. In this tutorial, we are going to talk about a new feature that was added to JASP 0.19 that I have not had a chance to mess around with and make a tutorial until now. A lot of people have been asking me about this tutorial. A lot of people have been asking me about this. And if you check out my video talking about the new features of 0.19 from a few months ago, as of the recording and publishing of this video, when JASP first came out, or so around that time, I put in a suggestion for a hierarchical functionality to linear regression. That is to use the enter method, putting things into the regression equation, and then adding things in different models to see what changes. Now, there are a few folks out there that think that this is probably not a good way to do regression. And in some ways, I agree. It's a little hammy for trying to find effects for a linear regression that might or might not be real, but type 1 errors, if you will. But it is still something that you can do, even mathematically, can do, by hand is what I mean by mathematically. Of course, mathematically is what the computer program is doing. But of course, it's a useful function if you're kind of just seeing what the addition or the subtraction of a variable or two will do to a prediction that you're making in your regression, from your theory, from your regression, not just entering it all in once and then looking at each individual predictor, but like looking at R squared and then focusing on the change in R squared and whether or not that is a significant addition or subtraction. So that's what this video is going to do. We're going to take a spin, as you can see, open a data file and take JASP for a spin. We are going to take a spin on the linear regression and doing it in a hierarchical manner. Okay, so here I have the splash screen, and I already, and I updated to 0.19.1. There's some hot fixes that they did, and they have a new version coming out soon with some new features, so I'm looking forward to that as far as this posting is concerned, I guess. Let's jump into the tutorial, shall we? So I've opened up the college success linear regression. You can see that this package here, wrapper, comes with a descriptive statistics, a correlation, and then 2 linear regressions on this data set from Moore, McCabe, and Craig, Introduction to the Practice of Statistics, 7th edition. And it is from a particular data set from Campbell and McCabe, predicting the success of freshmen in a computer science major. Communications of the ACM, I guess that's Association of Computer Science Majors. I don't know. But anyways, this college success data can be found in the data library. You go to open, you go to data library, you go to number 4 regression, and it is like the 5th one down right here. 224 university students. Let's talk about some of these variables, and then we'll jump into a new model. I'm not going to look at these modeling, so we're just going to stay up here, and I'm going to make the window bigger so we can see everything. Just go ahead and hit Option a couple of times. Option, if you're on Mac, Option, and then clicking this button will give you just a maximized screen, not full screen. And then it'll bring up all of the keyboard navigation buttons, and you just hit Option again and they'll go away. Anyways, let's take a look at the description here. We've got participant ID, GPA, after 3 semesters in college. So they are sophomores now, 2nd semester sophomores if we've already got 3 semester GPA in there. We've got high school grade in mathematics. So that's what HSM is. Let me make these bigger so you can see. HSS is high school grade in science. So whatever those science grades are. HSE is grades in English. SATM is their SAT score for mathematics, the mathematics subscore. SATV is their SAT score for verbal, the verbal SAT score. And then we have a mixture of labels here. Sex is the name of the variable for gender. They could have just said gender. And labels not available. We are not going to use this variable here. Really what I want to do is focus on these variables here. Their SAT, HS, and all their HS scores, their SAT scores, and their GPAs. So let's do a little bit of funkiness with this hierarchical model. So let's start a new model. And you do it the same exact way if you were just doing one of these 2 linear regressions here. What we're going to do is we're going to open up regression, and we're going to go to linear regression. It's going to open up a new regression. And just in case you are wondering, I have my options set to show all of the R code at the top. It's a way to help me learn R. I know this is through the JASP package, so you have to have the JASP package in R installed to be able to use all of this, but it uses many of the same language, like dependent weights, lists, and then values here for that regular R packages use, regular R regression uses. So as we add to the point and click here, it's going to start adding in information, and we've already got some of it, but as you can see, I have it set to not show false over here. And so all of the false stuff is not showing at the moment, right? I wish you could make this box bigger, but that's okay. I also have this show all options in case you want to type in this box. So you can do R in both cases, right? So you can type in this box and then hit Command Enter if you're on a Mac, Control Enter if you are on a PC, Windows, and it will add this code and run it. But we're gonna do the normal point and click because that's how I do things on this channel. That's how I do things, and that's, I learned point and click on SPSS for better or for worse. And eventually, I'm going to teach myself how to code, but today is not that day. Anyways, so let's go ahead and set up our model. And as you can see here, we've got method, but method hasn't changed. We still have enter. This is the normal method of running a regression. It puts all of the variables into the model and then it runs it. And then we've got backwards, forwards, and stepwise. None of this is hierarchical for any stretch of the imagination. So if you want to set up your model, you go to model and you set this up. And here's where you set up your hierarchical model, where each of these models, and if we add a second one, as you can see, we've got model 0, model 1, model 2. You can change which variables from this list as you put them into the covariates and factors boxes, depending on what kind of variable they are. So sex would go into factors, all of these other ones would go into covariates, and then you would play around with each of these models. That's how we do hierarchical modeling in JASP. And I think it's a great addition because it's not a new method and changing all of this stuff. It's really just going back and forth and adding in which variables I want in over here for which model, and then I can look at the change in R squared. Or delta R squared as it generally is. So let's go ahead and put in all of my variables. Oh, what am I predicting though, actually? I'm predicting GPA, that's what I am doing, from each of these. And we are going to put them in here. And as you can see, this is what model 1 and model 2 is going to be. Model 0 is nothing. And so if we wanted to, we could collect all of these and take them over, right? And then now nothing's over here. And it's only going to show me my intercepts. And my intercepts are all pretty good, but they're all the same, right? So let's go ahead and put in their SAT math for model 0. That's all I want to see, right? And I got to make sure that all of my statistics are here. So I want my R squared change. Let's go ahead and get my F change. Okay, we can get our AAC and BIC. These are model fit. We can get our descriptives. We can get our part and partial correlation. Sure, why not? I'm okay with leaving the estimates as maximum likelihood generated. So let's go ahead and just leave estimates here. We're not going to go into full details on that one. We also don't need a ton of information about residuals. I don't want this to get way out of hand here. And then let's go ahead and make some changes, shall we? So SAT math is going to stay, because it's in model 0, it has to be in model 1 and model 2. And if we look at model 1, right, we have R of 0.25 and then an R squared of 0.06. And that's just showing us that R squared is 0.06, right? That's the change from 0. There's our F and our DFs, and there is our p-value. So an R squared of 6%, it's not bad. It's not bad at all, right? And so I'll leave model 2 there, right? And so as the only variable in there, it is a strong, look how small that standard error is. Very strong predictor of somebody's GPA. I don't want to go scroll too much, otherwise you'll know the reason. Okay, so let's go ahead and start. In model 1, what I want to do is I want to add in SAT V and see what happens with a verbal score. And you can see here that verbal score doesn't actually change much of anything. Look at that F change, right? No significant digits here change in R squared. So verbal score doesn't change much of anything in model 1. So your verbal score has not changed anything whatsoever. The RMSE went up 0.002, okay? The AIC went up a couple of points. BIC went up about 6 points, but we can't even detect an R squared change, and that's because we don't even detect an R change here. So let's go ahead and add in the high school stuff for model 2 and see what happens. And it appears that we do have, I didn't want to add no. I don't want those. No. I just want the high school stuff. I don't want the interactions in there. Okay, so let's go ahead and look at from model 1 to model 2, right? So model 1 had only SAT math and SAT verbal in it. And model 2 now includes those two variables and high school math and high school science and high school English. We could, if we wanted to, remove model 2 and then just add them to model 1 and just compare 0 to 1. We could do that if we wanted to. There's no hard and fast rule for hierarchical. It's really, can you defend your choices, and are your choices going to be seen as harking or p-hacking? If you're not familiar with those terms, harking is hypothesizing after knowing what the data is, and then p-hacking is fiddling with your data to find significant effects. And of course, we aren't trying to do that here, but on the other hand, this is just a tutorial. So let's take a look at the change from model 1 to model 2. So delta R squared is right here, right? And we're going to go from, let's just look at what each of the changes, right? So R, this is our total correlation of all of my predictors, both SAT scores and all high school math, science, and English, okay? That's the correlation with GPA, and we've got a 0.46. instead of a 0.252. That's looking good. If we go over to r squared, right? So we square this value. Instead of 0.063, it's now 0.211. Okay. Our adjusted r squared, that's just bias adjustment, 0.19 instead of 0.05 or 0.06, really, if we rounded. Our MSE does go down, right? Our root mean square error does go down, which is good. And then our AIC and BICs do also go down as well. And that's because we have, and in each of these, it's fine. Each of these totally within, thresholds, all of that stuff. It's because we have multiple predictors in here, and so things are definitely changing. There's more. There's the idea of adding more error the more predictors that you put in because we're adding more measurements. But let's take a look at the r squared change, which is where the meat of hierarchical regression lives, right? So we've got r squared change. We go from 0.063, excluding the SAT verbal because it didn't actually make any difference, to the addition of our high school math, science, and English scores, an additional 0.148 or 0.148 or 0.15. And then that F change is 13. 13. And our degrees of freedom, 3 to 18, it goes down because we're adding predictors. And there again is a significant effect. So this p-value right here, these p-values tell you the significance of the statistical significance, of this r squared change. Now, if you want to know what your predictors are doing in the model itself, you go to the ANOVA source table and you can see the models themselves. So model 1, model 0, model 1, model 2, or model naught, I should say, and where that comes in. So, right, we've got an F of 15. This one has an F of 7.47. It's still significant because SAT math is still in the model, and then we have an F of 11.7, and that's very significant. And if we come down here, if we wanted to take a look at the coefficients, you can see that our standardized coefficients in model 1, negative 0.003. So it's not only no change on our beta here, but it's actually a negative verbal score. And it's even worse when we take a look at it in model 2, it's negative 0.05. So in fact, English scores on the SAT slightly work against a person's GPA in a computer science program. And you can see here that a high school English score does not contribute. It's actually interesting here, a high school science score also doesn't contribute to the variance. It's primarily high school math. It's primarily high school math actually in this model right here because SAT math is now no longer significant. Oh, wow. High school math is predicting GPA in a computer science program more than the SAT math is. And that actually makes a lot of sense because to do well in a computer science program, you need high-level math. And you're not going to get those high-level math classes in your first 3 semesters. You are probably going to rehash some of the classes that you took in high school, which are things like calculus. Okay, so this makes a lot of sense. And of course, the SAT does not test for calculus. I think it goes as far as trigonometry. So it's algebra, trigonometry, geometry, and that's about, and maybe some statistics actually, but like basic statistics, not the calculus that underlies the statistics. So that makes a lot of sense in this outcome when we put high school math in this model. It's predictive when we only have SAT math, for sure. That tells us there's a difference there. People who have better SAT scores do have better GPAs, for sure. But when we put high school math in there, that beta is 0.31, where the SAT math goes down to 0.11. It falls quite a bit, right? From 0.25 to 0.11, so 0.14 drop. So that's what we get with a hierarchical linear regression. And that's how you do it. You just add in your models here and just know that when you do a model, you cannot take out something that exists in an earlier model. And I'm wondering if you change this to like a backward, no, it doesn't change. It does not change. Let's see if we change this stepwise. No, you still cannot remove earlier model values. So you can't take out, you can only go forward doing this. Let's just do enter method because that makes the most sense. Okay, good to know. Good to know for what you do for model. And you can also, it looks like you can change these, model A. Let's see, did it change? It didn't. It still calls it M not. That's too funny. We can change it. I don't know. Model B, model C. All right, maybe that's a future change. I would imagine you'd have to change it up in here. Yeah, it's a bit too bad. I wonder if it changes anywhere. In any case, it's not 1 and 2. So that's how you do linear regression, and you can get plots and stuff. This is what the original wrapper is for that, right? Now we also include the SAT scores. So what we did in one linear regression, this wrapper does in 2 different linear regressions. So just know that now you can do what 2 regressions took, you can do with 1. And I think that's really important. And that was the final thing that I wanted to say about this is why I chose this particular thing, because the work of 2 models now can be done with the work of 1 model. So really, really, really helpful. And I think the interesting thing about this is in no point was high school GPA added in here, because honestly, that's not really all that helpful anymore. High school GPA is, I was talking to a colleague, and high school GPA, because of the 5-point scale that some schools do, like with AP or whatever, right? It's no longer a 4-point scale. And so you get like this weird, inflation effect. And so no longer does high school GPA predict college GPA. Anyways, that's all I'm going to do in this video. JASP, Hierarchical Linear Regression. If you have any comments, suggestions, questions, or other feedback, please leave those in the comments down below. Thank you for watching this video, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.